Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Pollock, and I am the Customer Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Using Supply Chain Automation to Overcome Operational Challenges, presented by Scanco's Ross Allen. Before we get started, let's go over some housekeeping items. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise to a minimum. However, throughout the webinar, you can submit any questions you have. If you'd like to submit a question, look for the questions section in your GoToWebinar or the chat box, and we will answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. We're also recording this presentation, and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees, as well as those who registered but were unable to attend. And also, we would appreciate your participation in our closing survey. We appreciate you taking time out of our busy day today to attend this webinar. SWK is here to help you get the most out of your software solutions, help you find an easier way to run your business, and providing you with tools, support, software, and industry knowledge whenever you need it. Today, we're thrilled to have our close partner Scanco with us to talk about supply chain automation solutions. So whether you're here researching a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions you have and get an expert opinion. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to Ross to get us started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone's time out of their busy schedule. And I know we have Easter weekend coming up. The Masters just started today. So I don't want to keep you away from any of that for as much as possible. So we try to limit these things to 30 minutes. I promise to get you in and out of here in about 30 minutes or less. But like I said, I really appreciate your time today and SWK. They've been a close partnership, and partnership is going to be a focus of a lot of what I'm going to be discussing today. And we've been a longtime partner of ours and Sage. We're very lucky to have them and be able to be a part of this today. So it's a big mouthful, right? Using supply chain automation to overcome operational challenges. And to really sum it up and make it simplistic is, a lot of our organizations and a lot of you on the phone today have been around as an organization of business for decades. And over those decades, your business is seeing growth, seeing, shift in changes, shift in supply chain, shift in business models. But at the end of the day, you're manufacturing and distributing. So how can we do that better and how can we improve? There's always room for improvement, right? So I'm going to go through a list of applications that Scanco offers within the Sage family to show you where we can kind of go from there. Before we get too deep into that, I did want to tell you a little bit about our family. So we are an organization, a company. We've been around for almost 38 years now. But at the end of the day, yes, we are a family. And once you become a part of our organization and decide to join Scanco, you are part of our family as well. Here's a recent event that we were celebrating, a couple of ours, a 10+ year. A lot of our employees actually have been here in the double digits. There was myself and a couple others that were celebrating our 10-year anniversary this past summer. And as you can see, we're bringing on the next younger generation of Scanconians, as we call it, to the Sage world. And but before we kind of get into that, I want to kind of give you a little opportunity to overview of Scanco. So you see the word providing opportunities since 1989. When we started as a business in 1989, Sage is our bread and butter, our backbone, Sage 100. We also have 300 and 500 and intact, but our main focus is 100, and that's what the main focus is of today. But as far as an opportunity for what? Well, for me, it's an opportunity to be able to work with new companies, work with new organizations, an opportunity to help you guys grow, to scale, to fine tune your business practices. There's always room for opportunity, a lot of room for improvement, and that's what I want to kind of focus on today. But I always like to talk about ourselves, but I also like to talk about me a little bit, just so you know who you're talking to. So I've been with Scanco since 2012. Before that, I came from a family distribution business. I grew up working in a warehouse. So coming to Scanco was just kind of like a next, best step in my life. And what I wanted to do next is get into the software world and kind of get out of a warehouse. But I grew up driving a forklift at 10 years old, which probably is frowned upon today. But grew up doing that, grew up unloading containers and living in the warehouse world of bin locations. And I got to feel firsthand what it was like to do everything in a manual method and how painstaking it was. We survived, but it was still painstaking. So now we kind of take it to that next step. I do have hobbies outside of this. So Scanco is my family, but I have a real family, my wife, Lauren, and my daughter, Ava. And I have my dog Liam that I bring to work occasionally with me. And so those people are my real bosses. And when I get home, I've been playing bagpipes for 30 plus years. So if you ever followed Scanco on LinkedIn, you'll see that my bagpipe posts appear once in a blue moon. Big fan of bourbon and dad jokes. I don't know why you wouldn't like dad jokes, but they're always a fun thing too. So there's life outside of Scanco, but I always like to kind of share a little bit about me and who you're talking with and dealing with. So we're going to focus on four main core areas. We're going to talk about the experience a little bit, and I'm going to share with you what the experience has been like from our customers, onboarding, et cetera. We're going to talk about, we're going to pinpoint on some of the challenges you might experience, some of the solution offerings that are out there to help curtail those challenges, and what the future looks for you and future looks like for you as an organization, and how to kind of onboard that. So remember, Scanco, our software holistically is not a magic wand. As much as I wish it would be, it's not. It does take grit, determination, and work on all ends. And so that's why I'm going to stress the point of partnership. Partnership is big in this. And it's a partnership, it's a three-way street, as I like to call it, between SWK, your partner in this, who has great resources from consulting and account managers and implementations, to Scanco, and then to you, right? It's a three-way street. And if all three of those wheels are turning at the exact same time, magic happens and perfection happens. So that in itself is the magic wand. So instead of waiting for the end to kind of share with you some of the best experiences, I want to share with you at the beginning so we know where we can get to and then how to get there. So I put up some quotes from recent implementations, some customers that have been around us for a long time, and these are all available on our website. If you go to scanco.com, they're under the customer tab. We do have some great success stories, and I always liked hearing those and reading them. But as you can see, the overall theme here is that we've taken an organization and helped them not only save money, millions of dollars worth of inventory is a big thing, but save hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can see that there's all shapes and sizes of businesses. We have some that are in a 5,000 square foot warehouse to some that have over 750,000 square feet of warehouse space spread across 5 states, 2 countries, and bin locations. And to get down to less than 1% discrepancy is huge. And they did that within under a year and a half or so of implementing. Then there's companies that have taken reconciliation from 48 hours of inventory, from bringing it, posting it, taking it manually, now doing it within minutes of Sage. And the other part too is you saw this next one here at the bottom is, growth was their end goal, and they were able to not only double in size, but actually add on more employees, which at the end of the thing was a big thing for them. So, and all this is recorded. You can read through these another time, but I wanted to kind of share these with you because I like reading these, and it gives, it lets me know that brings me excitement every day, getting to work with customers like this. And the unique thing about our job too is that's why I like working at Scanco so much, is that we get to work with so many different customers. We don't have one specific market that we market to. We have customers that make tortilla chips to microchips to masks to hand sanitizer to liquor distributors to anybody in between, right? And that's what's cool and unique about our industry is we get to work with so many different organizations, and that's what's exciting for me every day personally. But with even though each one of these companies, each one of your companies is different than another person, whether you're in the oil industry and gas, or like I said, the soda pop industry, everyone still faces the same challenges. And there's different ones I kind of highlighted on some of the major challenges that we see on a day-to-day basis, that aren't using any automation, right? So manual data entry is the big thing. Now, as I mentioned before, a lot of our organizations, and probably some of you that are on the phone, have been around for decades. And manual data entry decades ago might have worked in 1978, might have worked in 1985, 1991, whatever. But now with growth, and especially after COVID hit the last year or so, more and more businesses have just grown like wildfire. And in order to scale and grow, the manual methodology isn't really doing the trick anymore. So manual data entry of writing things down in pen and paper, then the double entry into Sage is a huge time saver, or huge time sucker, I should say. And it's not scalable and growable. Disorganization is a big thing. It's okay to admit that there's a messy warehouse. There are clean warehouses, there's messy warehouses, but if you know where everything's at, great. But to bring on additional staff that maybe have just joined your organization, they don't know where everything's at, right? Tribal knowledge is big, but if you don't have the knowledge to pass down to the next group, then that's where it's going to run into issues. Tracking inventory movement is a big thing. Now, if you have one facility, that's one thing. But if you have multiple facilities or you're spread across a campus of 4 or 5 buildings, tracking inventory is huge. Where I'm dealing with a company today that has 2 warehouses within 2 miles of each other, and they load stuff on trucks all the time, and things get lost on a continual basis. Things get left at the other warehouse instead of the other one that they're supposed to be brought to. And the time it wastes to go 2 miles, which takes 20 to 30 minutes of traffic, to go pick up those things and bring them back is, several hours a day they waste doing that. Lack of communication from the front of the house to the back of the house is a big thing. So I'll kind of give you a highlight of how our software helps, implement and curtail that lack of communication. Inefficient picking is a big thing, especially if you have a warehouse that's 30, 40,000 square feet, you're racked 3 or 4 high, going and picking 10 orders and going back to the same spot 10 different times really isn't efficient, right? Or wildly inaccurate inventory. I have some companies that would rather sooner write off their inventory year over year than having to go do a physical count. It's the bane of everyone's existence is a physical count. We're gonna talk about how that can be a little bit easier. Staffing concerns is a big thing, right? We had the Great Resignation. Finding staff is, or anybody to work nowadays can be a problem for some organizations. So once you do find them, temps or full-time, having to school them up on how to use the software, use anything, or it can be tough. So we try to make that easier. And the biggest thing I say is customer satisfaction. So that kind of goes for us. We want satisfied and happy customers, and so do you, right? So if your customers are constantly getting the wrong product, if you deal in EDI and you have Walmarts and Amazons that you get fined for if you do not deliver the things on time, in time, and accurate, then that's going to come back. We dealt with one company, perfect example, that spent $65,000 a year on average of misship reships. So something got shipped out wrong, and it turned out that it's always in Hawaii or somewhere else, like way over halfway across the country. And so they'd overnight things. So just trust that the customer didn't get it, they didn't double check it, and they would go by their customer's word because that's what they grew on is customer satisfaction. And they spent $65,000 a year on average reshipping misshipped product. They fixed that in 6 months by using our product in our dashboard. And then, manual data entry is big today. I mean, as you can see, within the Sage world, 80% of Sage shops and warehouses use manual data entry today. So we're going to give a high level of our different offerings that live within Sage and outside of Sage. It can kind of help to compare that. So the benefits are, as you can see, scanning a barcode or any barcode or scanning a bin barcode or a bin location, approximately 1/6 of the time it takes to manually enter it. So scanning something and manually entering, I'll be the first to tell you, sometimes manual entry can be much faster than scanning, right? Writing something down in pen and paper is faster, but it's not as accurate. So if you have to go back and fix something, then you're really not saving time. We're bringing in warehouse automation, barcode scanning for warehousing, distribution, or manufacturing. Can not only cut that down, but also help save in accuracy and data collection in real time. Worker productivity is a big thing. So that's, worker health and worker happiness is a big thing for a lot of employers. They want to keep their employees that they've had for decades staffed because they know everything, but they also want to keep them happy. I have seen an uptick in worker productivity. In fact, I have some companies that have to earn the right to use Scanco. It's a pretty cool thing. If you have Scanco and a scanner in your hand, you've reached like a certain threshold in your company where you have to earn the right. And so not only are they holding themselves more accountable, but it actually picks up productivity on their end too. We just released a tip this week. We have a dashboard system that you can do worker productivity tracking. And in the world of warehousing, it's called gamification, right? A lot of companies will actually have workers compete against each other by who can pick the orders most accurately and the quickest and efficiently. And resource utilization is a big thing too, right? Sage is a great utility. It is a great accounting system, but it's not being used as properly as it should. I see more companies, food, medical, use spreadsheets than they do Sage. Everything's tracked in a spreadsheet. Lot numbers, serial numbers, quantity shipped, things that are on the water. So let's go back to using Sage the way it was meant to be used by enhancing it with some of our products. Improved inventory management with real-time visibility. Everything we're doing is synced directly into Sage. You'll see here that I put there's a very fine line between the word integrated and interfaced. There are softwares out there that interface into Sage and interface into other ERPs, but they interface with an overlay and a flat file that dumps in. It's not a real-time thing. There's still an upload. Sometimes you have to write a backend piece to connect it in Sage. Where we are deeply integrated into Sage. We've been doing it for over 38 years. We're a Sage OEM developer, so all of our software that we do writes back directly into Sage in real time, or lives directly in Sage as well, depending on which route you're going to go. So we have 4 major buckets, and then I'll kind of go in the advanced side as far as what we offer as a company from a core product listing. So on the manufacturing side, we integrate from bill of materials. So that's called manufacturing light. So if you're just doing production entries in Sage and bill of materials, we can help automate that from the handheld side very easily by backflushing components, making it very simplistic. Sage production management, which is the former replacement for work order module in Sage, is we wrote that for Sage and now have turned over the keys to them completely. But production management is the big thing. We have add-ons to production management that kind of straddle the world of make to order, make to stock. It's called Production Management Plus. So now you can, in real time, tie a work order to a sales order in real time. Sales orders entered, work tickets created. And by just that little tool, it will save any organization hours a day, especially if you're doing 30 to 40 work tickets a day, to the immediate satisfaction of having to enter saves time. And then for my ultimate manufacturers, the ones that need every bell and whistle, scheduling, capacity, the whole shebang, field service, is the world of job ops, now called operations management. We are the author of it, we are the owner of that product, and we fit in that world. But within those, we have an automation tool called Manufacturing 100 that bolts into all 3 of those, that in real time from the shop floor, you can do data collection of labor in real time. You can edit and track productivity on our dashboard that we have, material issues, make to stock or completions, and even time card entry. From a warehouse automation standpoint, we have a very simple out-of-the-box solution that covers you for physical counts. So now you can do real-time cycle counts from the floor and actually enjoy a physical count, instead of that once a year bane of your existence thorn in your side. Real-time transfers from warehouse locations to warehouse. We have different various options for pick, packing, and shipping, because not everything is just an easy put it in the box, ship it out the door. Sometimes if you're manufacturing, you're staging product, you're getting things prepared. You might not ship something for several weeks. So we allow you to track that. And also within our warehouse automation world, we have something called procurement automation. That's a big thing. I routinely hear all the time organizations and companies we're working with that either underbuy or overbuy, and there's really no like perfect happy median. They're either sitting on too much stock because they didn't think they had enough because someone went and counted it wrong, or they're not paying attention to what they're manufacturing. They don't have enough. Now we're running into that supply chain issue where they can't get it quickly, and now they're sitting on 10 unfinished products. I have a boat manufacturer that has all these boats halfway built in the yard because they're waiting on product. So we have a procurement automation tool that lives in its own web portal. It's based. It's called Scanco Procurement Automation, SPA. If you're in the world of Sage, everyone loves acronyms, so we want SPA. And it is real time. It lets you look at critical and healthy inventory, lets you stage POs, and in real time process them. And our multi-bin product is the one of all of these that lives directly inside of Sage, except operations management, of course. And multi-bin is a WMS. So it's a warehouse management system, not an automation system. It lives directly inside of Sage. Out of the box, Sage does not give you a bin system. It gives you one single bin through reorder point that lets you just have one named location to one item in one warehouse. The only way around that is to have multiple Sage warehouse locations. Only way around it. Where our multi-bin product out of the box goes in, actually the standard one out of the box is free to all Sage customers that want to use it. It lives directly inside of Sage and lets you have a single widget in hundreds of bin locations. Starting receiving bins, shipping bins, pick bins, work in progress bins. And then if you think of the IKEA effect, where you have racks and locations, so you can have 100A to 100C or 100Z, completely up to you. But each bin location carries its own quantity. And if we want to go to the advanced route, you can have items and orders allocated to bin locations and do true FIFO, LIFO picking, tracking of expiration dates, advanced reporting. There's a whole utilities that we can get to that. And then lastly, we have a product that actually lives outside the four walls, Scanco Sales. It is its own independent app that lets you go out in the field to do sales order delivery, payment collection, invoicing, signature capture, editing an order. So if you have a delivery service that goes out and delivers orders to your customers, or each truck is its own location, the users actually can pull up our app instead of having to RDP into Sage from a laptop they have the ability to go right in there with their iPhone, their iPad, whatever they wish, collect a signature, update the order, send it to the customer, invoice, and even collect payment on site in real time. Or your salespeople that are out there visiting new customers and new businesses, everything's synced up to Sage. So they can create customers, create orders, create quotes, update information, even GPS map where they're at, and find the customer, all in real time. So those are our 4 out-of-the-box core products that we have. Then we will then take it to the next step with some of our advanced technology. As you can kind of see everything, and if you look at the image on the right, everything comes full circle. From everything going the door to out the door. There's no right or wrong way process to do this, right? Everyone's got a different methodology of how they track inventory, but goods come in, goods go out. And it's how you track and utilize it in between is where you're really going to see the difference. We give the ability for better metrics. So you can actually look at back order rates, picking accuracy, check-in times, and how long it took someone to bring in the product and put it away. And not only can you do that, but you can actually retain more customer information and more customer satisfaction. Some of our advanced utilities give full and traceability reports for lot vendor. So if you're a food manufacturer and you're bringing in your vendor lot number and you're tying it to your lot number inside your system. So, God willing, you ever had a recall or something else like that, you have full back-end traceability to look all the way back and find it. We give you the ability from if you're a food, especially, you can have different regions set up so you can track goods in their dry goods area, your freezer, your refrigeration area. And then one of the biggest things is overseas tracking, right? So this kind of goes back to tracking whole supply chain. So there's 2 schools of thought in the world of ordering product from overseas in a container or even air freight, same thing, is either you take ownership of it as soon as it hits the water, or you take ownership of it destination when it hits your dock. Those are the 2 delineating factors. If it's hitting your dock and you're taking ownership of it, then there's really no need to track it except kind of calling your freight carrier and seeing where something's at. So there's really not a whole lot we can do there except when it hits your dock, then we can start bringing things in accurately. But the problem is those customers, which we have a lot of, that are doing the overseas tracking that take ownership of it as soon as it hits the water. The major problem is on the accounting side, the general ledger, the GL, of how do you track it? There is no great way in Sage to do it unless you create your own warehouse for it in Sage or post it into a separate GL account, or most of my cases, my customers are using a spreadsheet. So bookkeeping has no traceability. If you're a food company or a medical company that has FDA regulations when you get audited, you have to show them everything that you take ownership of, even if it's not at your dock. So we have a product called On the Water. I know it was a crafty name. But anyway, On the Water tracking lets you do container tracking and water tracking for inventory as soon as it hits the water. It's enhanced with our multi-bin product, and it actually lets you put all of your products into their own GL account, into its own bin location under one easy to find window inside of Sage. So gone are the days of spreadsheets and gone are the days of outside tracking. And at the end of the day too, we're helping you eliminate the guesswork, right? I think there's 5 here. I think there's 10 here. I think we just shipped out 20, but I'm not sure yet. So gone are the days of I think, and now here are the days of I know. That's the biggest thing. And really it helps onboard if you have bringing in temps or part-time help and work, especially during seasonal businesses. They need a whole lot less experience. Onboarding is very easy. And then you have true KPIs, performance indicators, going back to dashboards and audit reports to figure out where everything was. And not only can you trace where things are at in the warehouse or when they went out from Sage with reporting or our dashboards, but you can actually see who was logged in on the scanner and who actually shipped it out, who received it, who picked it, who transferred it. So now where it's like the game of Clue, but now you know everything ahead of time. So no more guesswork. So how do we implement, how do we grow this, right? This is the big thing. Where do you start? I just threw a bunch of information at you, which I don't expect you to completely absorb today, so I'm recording it. But the biggest thing is I want to show you where you can grow and scale. Everything that we have is 100% scalable, 100% implementable at a time when you're comfortable with it, right? And there's, we have our own resources internally. We develop our own product, we support our own product, we house our own product, and we have our own professional services team that help with implementing this, growing this. We do on-sites, we travel. We love to travel, we love to see our customers. So we will be on site and help you implement this or onboard this. We have go live assistance, we can do product configuration, we can even do custom one-offs if there's something uniquely that you guys need that are specific to you that you would rather not do inside the Sage, you'd rather do it in the handheld or a combination thereof. And then you have utilities. We have knowledge bases. We actually have a training website called our Scanco LMS, which is a full course-driven offering that gives you how-tos and how-not-tos within our system and lets you onboard customers, or your employees, I should say, with an easy-to-follow course offering of all of our products. But the biggest thing is, where do you start, right? So what's that next step to success? Well, the biggest step is, one, you joined the webinar today, which we're very grateful for, and I appreciate you taking the 30 minutes out of your day to join us. So that's the first step. First step is admitting there's a problem and how do we fix it. So to me, it's identifying the challenges. Every one of our customers we've onboarded and our major success stories internally put together a game plan, where they want to be in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, a roadmap of how can they grow and how can they scale. Because if your end goal is to double the size of your business, add on a third facility, add on 50 more employees, because you know that the growing trend of what you guys sell and make and distribute is going to be the next thing. How do you get there? Well, the first thing is identifying that internally. Those challenges are growth, if that could be a challenge. The challenge is I'm losing inventory. The challenge is I'm having unhappy customers. So identify what those are. Pick 5 if you can. 3 is even a better number. If you can get 5, even more. And then enlist SWK and Scanco. I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but that's the biggest thing. You have a great partner in SWK. I've been working with them for well over a decade. They have great resources to help you guys take it to the next level. And that's why we have a great relationship. Remember, I said it's a partnership. I said at the very beginning, partnership between you, SWK, and then Scanco. And the 3 of us together can help you guys take it to the next level. Then define what great looks like to you and don't settle for less. All right. So if your goal is to bring on Scanco and grow this out for the next 5 years, that's what great looks like to you, then let's do it. We'll help you define it. And the other thing too is project ownership. The customers that have taken longer to implement or have delayed, and they're still right. Not everything's 100% wonderful success story out of the box. It's going to take some work and some grunt work and some grind work, right? Is have an owner of the product, whether it's your CFO, your controller, your operations manager. Not have one person, but have 2 people own it. If one person's out sick, or someone leaves the company, not all the tribal knowledge left with that person. So every successful company that we've ever had has always had 2 project owners that work in tandem with each other, along with us and SWK. So if we do all of those things, then you are on 100% path to success. And as I promised you, we're coming up on the 30-minute mark, and I would love to continue this more. So please reach out to your account manager at SWK, your consultant. They'll be in touch with me, and then we can have a deeper conversation discussing this. So if there's any questions, I think we'll turn that back over to you, Ms. Courtney.
Awesome. Thank you, Ross, for an informative presentation. And as he said, yes, we are going to now open it up for questions. So we've already had a few questions come through, so I'm going to get started with those. And if you have a question that you've not yet submitted, we encourage you to put that in the question section or the chat box, and we'll get that answered shortly. So Ross, our first question is, what Sage versions, Sage 100 versions do you support and or work with?
Gotcha. Good question. Well, we have customers on all different versions of Sage. Obviously, with the whole TLS issue, there's a lot of Sage upgrades. But as Sage developers and as Sage ISVs, we have to follow the Sage path of N-2, N being the current value of Sage or current release back to. So right now, Sage has 2022 out. We support version 2022, and we're compliant all the way to .2, all the way back to 2020. In a couple months, Sage will be releasing Sage 2023, and at one point when that fully goes live, we'll eventually phase out support for Sage 2020. So right now it's 2020 through 2022.
Okay, great. And then our next question is about the devices and software you use. So what devices and software does Scanco operate on?
Great question. So we're non-denominational when it comes to operating systems, but we do work on 3. We have Windows desktop applications that run from Windows desktop. I see that mostly in the world of manufacturing, where you have a shop floor, workstation area. And then our application is native application to iOS and Android. Though we do see the best experiences on Android. I'm an iOS guy, don't get me wrong, I love Apple products, but in the warehouse, Zebra has cornered the market on awesome scanners in the warehouse, and they all run the full Android operating system. Good question.
Okay. Yep, that's very interesting. Our next question is, a statement and a question. So I'm ready to take the leap on, warehouse management software. Where do they start? So where would they get started with Scanco?
Gotcha. Good question. And so you start with SWK, start with your account manager, start with your consultant. And I did want to give one just asterisk to the versions. We are support current versions of Sage that we work on. But if you're on 2017, 2018, and you have an upgrade path coming down the future, right now we're doing a lot of customers that are upgrading specifically so they can have Scanco software. So we'll talk to anybody on any version of Sage you are, but obviously we want to get you on the most current, and so does SWK, to make sure you're not only supported and taken care of. But the first step is kind of going back to that last slide is identify what you want to do, how you're going to do it, and reach out to SWK, and then they will contact me.
Great, yes, and I would echo Ross completely. So reach out to your contact at SWK, and they will put you in connection and know how to get you started there. And if you are interested in moving forward, if that was your question, then definitely let us know in the follow-up survey when you exit out of the webinar. And I think keeping to that 30-minute promise, I think those are going to be our questions for the day. So I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their day to attend. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you, Ross, for giving such an informative presentation today.
Hey, thank you. And thank you, everyone. And have a happy Easter weekend and Masters weekend. Talk soon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.